Hello guys and welcome to Sonic Labs. Today we'll be going through some of the best free stereo enhancement plugins. So let us begin. So here we have a simple beat with some melodic stuff going on it. This is how it sounds. So the very first plugin that we are going to see is called Dimension Expander by X4 Records, and this is really similar to the hyperdimension effect inside the Serum synthesizer plugin. If you know it, let us just see how it sounds. Now this was without the effect, and this is with the effect. Now this is a really simple plugin and there are only two knobs and a on-off button which will just bypass the plugin. Now what I would suggest is not putting this on high room size values because it will then create a really bad delayed sound. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So what I would suggest is that the best setting is put the size at almost 0, or at max you can put it around 20%, and drive it is just your choice, so adjust it accordingly. So this is a digital stereo expander, so it won't add any sort of color to your sound. The output would be pretty much transparent. The next plugin that we are going to see is called MSED by Voxengo, and this is pretty much a mastering stereo imager. Like, you would mainly want to use it for your mastering process, and it is really simple to use. It has only 4 controls and 2 of them are about gain and 2 are about panning. So what you can do is you can just increase the gain of the mid signal or increase the gain of the side signals within the sound. So this plugin won't actually make your sound stereo, but it would only enhance the stereo signal within the sound if there is any. So let us just see how it works. So since we increased the side gain at such high value, and even then we couldn't just expand the sound that much into the stereo field, that means this sample doesn't have that much of stereo signal present in it. So this plugin is actually not a stereo enhancer, but it's just a stereo gain control. So you can just adjust the gain of the mid signal and the side signal, and it depends on your sample whether it has side signal present or no. Also, you can use it while mastering because it has a correlation meter and a left right balance meter. And if you don't know what this correlation meter does is it shows you whether a sound is mono compatible or no, and for that it should always be on the right side of the meter. And it also has a spectral visualizer, so that also helps. Now you can also pan the mids and the sides to left or right, but I don't think that is really necessary in any case. So yeah, only these 2 controls would be useful for this plugin. Up next we have Mooni Wider by Mooni DSP. Now this is a really great plugin because it comes with a XY controller, and I'll tell you why this is more beneficial than just adjusting knobs. So first of all, you have a low cut filter, so you are not affecting the low frequencies to stay on the safe side, because if you make the low frequency stereo, it would just mess up your sound. So it has a really good filter option. Next, it has the wide knob. So if you increase it, the sound will get wider, and if you decrease it, it will become more mono. And at the end, you have a gain knob, and you have the option to put it on auto. So it will balance the output signal itself automatically after the processing. So let's just see how it works. Now you can also solo the left and the right signal. I'll explain the XY controller now. So taking it up would make the plugin more responsive to the high frequency part of the sound, and taking it down would make it more responsive to the lower frequencies. Putting this on the left or the right side would simply pan your sound to the left or right. You should only use the Y control and not the X control unless you want to pan your sound, and see that which frequencies sound the best when the plugin is in effect. So I think that very high frequencies are not really sounding good. Yeah, and if you off the auto option, you can just adjust the gain manually. Up next we have False F1 by White Label, and this one is like a vintage stereo enhancer, and this is a pretty special plugin because it offers you two types of analog models for stereo enhancement, and it also offers you two types of tones, which is old school and fresh, and there is the mode option. You can switch between mode 1 and mode 2. And at the end you have one more option, which is about the input setting of the sound that you are feeding within the plugin. So if you off the stereo, the plugin will only take the mono signal within it from the sample, and if you on it, it will take the entire sample and then affect it. So you can just either take the mono signal only, or you can take the entire sound for stereo enhancement. So it gives you that choice. Next we have a delay and a width knob. So it determines how wide you want to spread the two signals within the spectrum. And now let's just see how it works. So right now I have increased the width to its maximum value, and the delay is at 0. So this is causing some phasing issues. Let's just listen. So to avoid that, we can just increase the delay by a bit. So yeah, this plugin will cause phasing issues if you don't set the delay properly. But if you are looking for that vintage analog sound while trying to enhance the stereo image of the sound, I would definitely recommend this plugin. Now this one is a personal favorite of mine, and it's called A1 Stereo Control by Alex Hilton. And why I really like this plugin is because of the amount of control it gives you to just shape the entire stereo image of your sound. And this would be really helpful in your mastering process, and also while using it on individual instruments. I'll explain each controls one by one. First of all, we have a swap option, so it will just swap the left and the right signal. Next we have phase flip, so it will just flip the phase of one of the signals, either left or right. Then we have a mono option. This will only take in the mono signal from the sample which is fed inside the plugin. And then you have an option to switch between easy and expert mode. The expert mode is a bit more complicated and technical, so I would suggest using the easy mode more frequently. Next we have the option to mute the mids and mute the sides also, and we have the option to just cut out. There's a filter that can cut out the bass frequencies, so we are not spreading out the bass frequencies, and that will avoid the problem of phasing. So let's just see how it sounds. Now, just like the MSED, this plugin is not spreading your sound into the stereo field, but it is just balancing the volumes of the mid and the side signal. So if your sample doesn't have any side information within it, the plugin won't enhance the stereo image of that. Instead, it will just cause some decrease in volume because you are just increasing the volume of the side signal and suppressing the mids. And since there is very little side information inside the sample, it will only reduce the volume of the sample. So this is really helpful while doing your mastering, because you have so many convenient options of swapping LR, flipping the phase. You can mono the sound and check how it sounds in mono. You can also mute the mids and the sides, and you have a bypass option at the end, and there's also input and output. So this is a really good plugin. I would suggest using it on your master chain to just check for some issues like phasing or mono compatibility, or only if you want to just see that your mix is stereo enough or no. So yeah, this is a really good plugin for that. At last, we have a plugin called 6-band spreader by CIS DSP Factory, and this is a really powerful plugin because it has 6 bands within it, and you can just divide your spectrum into these 6 bands and separately shape the stereo image of each band however you want. So this would be really helpful while doing your mastering process to get the mono compatibility in your mixes. And why I say that this is really powerful is that you can type in the values of frequencies that you want. You can just adjust the bandwidth by just typing the frequencies here. And another thing is that this plugin is not really intense on your sound. Like if you listen to the before and after of a sound, after processing the stereo field and making some frequencies wide, maybe you will not listen that much difference in your sound, because this plugin doesn't affect the samples that intensively. So that's why I suggest it for mastering, because mastering is all about subtle processing. And now let's just see how it sounds. So This is before and this is after. And there is not much difference between the before and after, as I said before, because this plugin doesn't affect the sample that intensively, and I won't suggest using it on individual sounds because it's not that strong on the stereo widening part. But I would definitely suggest you using it on your master chain to just make everything mono compatible and spread each frequency band as much as you can. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and please like the video if you liked it, and consider subscribing the channel for more such content in future. Also, if you have a track that you want mixed and master, you can just send it to the email that we have given in the description, and we will mix and master it for free and send you a sample of it.